Hey guys, this is Jill Young. I'm checking in with my heroic 2-hour Shazam, and we're going to give you guys our top 12 tricks on how to break writer's block. So, let's get started. Hey guys, it is great if I'm making that video for you guys. If you've been following me, my last video was in the first week of July and it's now August. I am totally bombed and doing a video every 2 weeks, and I am sorry about that. I have been from Galveston to Philadelphia, Newark Comic Con, and then I had training. I actually just came back from training today, and I'm like, I am so making this video. So here I am, ready to do this writing advice video, and I'm so excited to get started. Before I start, I want to do a couple quick things. If you want to check out where I've been and my kind of adventures, like I said, I went from Galveston to Philadelphia, Newark Comic Con in literally like 2 weeks. I have a link to my blog. I wrote about it down below. And if you notice, if you watch my videos, my background's different. I am currently in my bedroom. My office is being redesigned, and I'm so excited. We're pushing some things around and getting a new desk, and my husband's getting a bigger desk in there. We're just kind of rearranging things, make some things more flow better in there for us. We're both working in there, and I'm going to be able to hang out some of my artwork and some of the comics I've collected. So I am really excited for that, and maybe when I get done, I'll be able to give you guys a little tour of my new writing space. So I'm excited about that. And so let's get started on my top 12 tricks of how to break writer's block. Okay, number 1 on my list is outline all the major events in a chapter or scene or section, however you break up your book, in that part you're writing. So we usually, when I sit down and write, sometimes I get overwhelmed with the ideas of all the things I have to accomplish, all the subplots that have to be achieved, the big conflict, the character development, everything that I need to go, world building, everything. And sometimes it's overwhelming. When you think of everything all at once, that tends to create writer's block. So one of my tricks I use is I make a bullet point list, and I go through the chapter. So I break mine up in chapters. And I think of all the things that need to happen to accomplish each subplot. So I know, okay, I need to do this for character development. I need to have this to get to this point so I can start getting these subplots checked off. And I go through and I write down, these are the things that have to happen in this chapter. And once I see those things all bulleted point out for me, I'm able to focus on the scene that I'm trying to write instead of being bogged down by everything else in my book. And I could really just narrow in and write, and that usually helps me get going. So I'll just start, okay, here we go, number 1, bullet point number 1, and I just start going. So that is my number 1 for how to break writer's block. Number 2 on my list is just write. Sometimes you just gotta do it, and it may be painful as you sit there and typing each word out and you're like, oh, I'm just not feeling this, but you gotta do it. If you already did number 1 and you have all your stuff bullet point out, you know this is what's gonna happen first. Just type it out. And I've done that quite a few times where I just am not feeling it. I have my dog wants my attention, or the house has to be cleaned, or something is going on that has drawing my attention away. But it's my writing time. I schedule this to write, so I need to write. And remember, when you go back, sometimes, and I've had this gone either way, sometimes the chapters I just force myself to write are either really bad and I have to do a lot of editing on them, or they're one of my best chapters. It goes either way. And remember, if it is bad, it's okay. We go through the editing process. We all have those chapters, or quite a few chapters that way. You just gotta edit, fluff it up, make it sound nice, but just sometimes you're just writing, you just gotta get the bare bones. Okay, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and sometimes all the fancy words and details don't need to be in there right away. Just get it out, and once you do that, you'll start getting in the flow. They'll start coming to you, and you're feeling better about it, and you'll get it done. So number 2 is just write. Number 3 is to journaling, or to work on your blog. Pretty much just to write, but something different. Several times I've tried to write, I'm just not feeling it. I just can't get the words to flow, but I know I need to write, so I'll take like 5 or 10 minutes and I'll focus on something else. I'll work on my blog. Maybe you're like to journal. Maybe something happened to you that day that was so incredible, and that's all you can think about, that's all you want to talk about. Well, take the time and write about it. Or if you're running behind your blog, or you just need to work on your blog, right on that. Usually I find if I take the time to write something totally different just for 5 or 10 minutes, helps me get into the groove of writing and getting myself in that mindset that I need to be in. And once that time goes up, I turn back to my book or my story that I'm writing, and I'm able to get into the groove a lot quicker than I have, and just started going. So I find that helps me quite a bit. So number 3 is just to write something different. Drawing or coloring. Yeah, I know, right? Coloring a coloring book, but it definitely works. Sometimes your creative side just doesn't want to come out. It's tired, it doesn't feel like it, it's shut the door on you, and it's not coming out. So usually what I do on my creative side is being quite stubborn. I will pull out my coloring book. I have like 2 different coloring books, and I will color, or I'll get my sketch pad out and I will draw, and just starting to use my brain in a different way. That I'm having fun, but I'm still being creative. I'm deciding what I'm going to draw, how am I going to draw this, or what colors I'm going to use. And just being creative like that helps bring out my creative side. So if I do that for a while, say like 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes of just doing something creative but different, helps me get that part of me to kind of peek out the door, say, okay, I'm feeling it, and I'm able to go back and start writing and being creative, which is what I need to be to create my stories. Number 5, create a Pinterest board that inspires you. I love Pinterest, and sometimes when I'm writing, I'm trying to write this scene, maybe it's a battle scene or something really intense is happening. I'm having a hard time describing what it looks like. I just can't visualize it in my own head. And if I can't visualize it in my own head, there's no way I'm going to be able to put this down on paper. So I love to go to Pinterest and look at those things that help inspire me. I actually have a board for freaks that if I see a picture or that artist has done that really captures some emotion or some kind of scene, or the way the character identifies with me that makes me think of something in my book, I will pin it to my Freaks Inspiration page, and I would look at that to help me visualize what I'm trying to create. And so when I can really see it, then I'm able to put it down in words, and that helps me a lot. I also pin, and this may work for you too, you might like some inspirational quotes or some writing advice, and I have writing advice, a writing folder or writing advice, and I have some inspirational quotes, art, and I even have art that's inspiring for different types of stories to write, and I will pin them. And also I have cute puppy pins, and so I love Pinterest, and I find it's a great way to help you when you're just having a hard time world building. You're world building something that's just, it's not there, and you have to just make it up. It helps to go look at all these amazing artists on Pinterest and just see some of the beautiful things they've created to help get you going, help get you creating that awesome world that you're working on. So number 5 is to create a Pinterest board. Number 6, create a music playlist. I love music. Music helps me write a lot, and if you watch my YA video, you know that I always have music on the background, pretty much almost everything I do. So music is very important to me. It helps me get in the mindset and to feel the emotions of the characters of the scene that I'm trying to write. So it is super important. And sometimes when I'm writing a chapter, I may already have a scene, a playlist for that scene I'm writing, but maybe I'm just not feeling it. So I'll go and I'll take some time and create a brand new playlist. And as I find that I go search for songs, it makes me really think about that scene and that chapter, what emotions are going on, each scene, what are these characters feeling, what's my main character feeling in this chapter, what are the supporting characters, what are they feeling, what song really represents and makes me feel what my characters are experiencing in this scene. So as I take the time and really think about that and create these songs, I find out that I am better prepared for this chapter. I really have had time to think in my head and to what is really going on, the emotional state of my characters. And as I made this playlist, I am pumped and excited, ready to listen to my playlist and to write that scene. That usually helps me inspire me to write when I'm having a hard time. And I usually typically do this for every chapter I write. I usually always take the time the day before, or maybe the night or something before I'm fixing to write. I'll sit down and I'll research and look on YouTube and find songs that really help me think about what I'm going to do for the next day in my writing time. So yeah, that helps me a lot. So number 6, create a music playlist. All right, number 7, take a break. As writers, we're really bad about pushing ourselves to the limit. We'll just keep going and going, and we're like, we have this word deadline we have to meet. We're not even there yet. We have to keep going and going, and we forget that we're human and we've got to take breaks. And several times this summer, I'll be writing in my room for like 5 hours. My husband will be like, "Hey, just see if you're alive. You want to go get a Coke?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And I'll go with him down to the 7-Eleven that's near our house, and we'll go get a Coke and just chit chat for a while, and that was just great. And I went back and I felt a lot better. Sometimes you might need a little longer break. Maybe go take time to play with your puppy, talk to your family, watch a TV show, do something that you like to do that just helps you relax and rejuvenate so you can come back and write better, whether it be just 5-10 minutes. Maybe you gotta cut your grind time in half that day, or maybe you can take a couple days off. Just make sure you take care of yourself. It's super important as writers to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of our bodies, our minds are not going to be able to focus and write what we want to write, what we want to accomplish. So that's really important. So make sure you take that break. Number 8, skip that scene. Sometimes you're just not feeling that scene. I've had this happen several times. I've done all my tricks, I have it outlined, and something's just not right. I mean, the dialogue is just off, or something's missing, and you just don't know what it is. So sometimes it's better just like, okay, I'm leaving here, I'm going to the next one, and maybe write the next 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 next scenes until you're able to come back and look at this. And I have found writing stuff that happens after my problem scene helps me really get a better grip of what I need to happen here to make these scenes work. So okay, I know I need this to happen, but for this to happen, I need this to take place. And usually I find that's what I'm missing. And usually I need a couple, or maybe the dialogue's off. I just need a couple extra days. Maybe flesh the character out more in later scenes that I know how I want them to be here, but in this part, I'm not exactly sure how they're acting or behaving around this character. So just giving myself some time how I know how they want to eventually be helps me go back and write that problem scene. So number 8 is skip that scene. Number 9, create character lists. I find character lists help me not only keep track of all my characters, all the information about my characters, it helps me also know how my characters are going to interact in their world or in that sort of situation that they're facing. And I usually have character lists. I have them go back and read them if I'm having problems with my characters, and read about them, how kind of refresh my memory about maybe certain things that make them tick a certain way, or maybe I'll need to add or edit or change some things in my character list. And the list can be about the information about them from super long to maybe just a couple of sentences, and they contain their description, their background information, their likes, their dislikes, everything you want to know about them could be in this, to something just quick if they're just not really a really important character, but you need to have a little something to keep track of them, maybe a couple of sentences. I find that if I have a problem with my characters, it usually helps if I go back and read through these, especially with my character that maybe is not a really important character, that'll have a really tiny part, but I just don't know who they are, and I'm having a hard time portraying them and writing them in this scene. It helps me go to that character list and me just really take some time to get to know this character and to figure out who they are, what they like, how would they behave in the situation, and just kind of write it down and flesh them out a little bit. And I find once I do that and I go back to write them, I'm like, I know who you are and I know how to write you, and it seems just to fit better and flow better for me. So that is something I like to do, especially when I'm having problems with my characters. And so that is number 9, make character lists. Number 10, research world building elements for your story. I find this helps me quite a bit. Sometimes when I'm having problems with the scene, it's just not feeling right, or something's missing. It's a world building element. I have a perfect example. When I was doing my first big edits, and I'd done my first draft, and I never really thought about technology in my world. Well, I had my husband read one of those chapters, and it was Jonas. He was drinking a cup of hot coffee, and I didn't really, just coffee, didn't think about it. And he was like, that's interesting. How does Jonas have hot coffee? And I'm like, I don't know. I never really declared what my technology was in my world. It's post-apocalyptic, but are they kind of roughing it? Is it a more, high advanced super technology, flying cars, or whatever? what's my technology for my world? I never thought about it. And as I took time to research how the hot coffee was made and add those elements to my book, I started researching more elements, and that's why I came up with the idea of the industrialism era, and not being a pure industrial era, having archaeologists go and they research and dig up artifacts, old technology from the old world, and if they can figure out how to use it, they use it for their world. So I would have never come up with the idea if I hadn't had that hot coffee moment. Maybe you have some interesting plant that grows and you know why it grows, but it's just not important. It's just something that is in your world that you have certain color, you have purple plants or purple leaves or something, and this is why. And just those little tidbits make your world big. And when you go through and you're researching, you're using both sides of your brain. You are researching and digging up information and learning all these ways to make things or how things happen, and then when you're learning that stuff, you're taking the information and you're recreating it and you're putting it in your world and you're making it work. You're not just copying and pasting, and you're making it fit for your world. And when you do that, you're not only getting excited about your world and getting pumped, it's becoming alive to you. You're coming with ideas. Like maybe some of your characters are facing some kind of problems, or maybe some kind of repression, or maybe there's a drought, or there's a food shortage, and maybe it doesn't come into play, or maybe your readers don't find out about it. Maybe do a couple, maybe toward closer to the end of their book, or maybe in the next book. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why that happens, because of this. It comes into play later, and you're able to think of this thing. You're able to think of this, your scope of your world, and how your characters survive and live in it. And when you do that, it really gets you excited to write. And I find this is one of my favorite ways to break writer's block, because it is so fun to create all these neat things and learn all these new things to add to my world. So number 10 is to create world building elements for your world. Number 11, making rewards for accomplishing your goals. I find this is really important, especially when you get first started and you create your writing schedule. It's good to think of something that you like to do to reward yourself. So think of a time, like you want to do it by hours, or do you like to go by word count or chapters? Think something that's realistic to you that you can get done, not 5 minutes, but something really realistic you can get something accomplished. And then when you accomplish that, have that reward be something you really like, whether it be play with your puppy, or go hang out with your friends, watch a movie, or go sit down and watch Netflix or Hulu, just you chill. Something that you really like to do that's a great reward for yourself for saying, I did an awesome job today, I'm going to go and get my reward. This is, like I said, great, especially when you first start your writing schedule and you first get started. Sometimes it's really hard to get started, and when you just make yourself do it, it's great to have that reward to give yourself a pat on the back for doing something that's hard to do. So number 11 is create rewards for accomplishing your goals. Number 12, read. I find reading is so important. Reading in your genre, reading the people that have had so much success in your genre, or maybe find someone maybe that's not as well known and reading their story, or read something that's not in your genre. I find that I've learned a lot from people that are not in my genre. Learn how they write and how they put the story together, and not only learn from it but enjoy it. As writers, we read in different levels. We analyze their writing and we learn from them, but we also enjoy it. So we're doing both as we read. One of the things I find that if I'm having a hard time describing something, I'll go read Edward Burroughs. Burroughs is one of my favorite authors, and he writes old science fiction. He's like from the 1900s. He wrote like Tarzan, John Carter, and my favorite, During the Earth's Core. And I would go and I read that, and the description he does, it's a lot of info dumping. So it's different than how we write now, but I find I really enjoy his description, when he describes things. And when I get done reading his books, I feel like, yes, I can describe that purple plant now. And it's just, I find that just reading something different that's not in my wheelhouse helps me. And sometimes reading something in your wheelhouse gives you ideas on like how things have succeeded and worked well. So don't be afraid to read and enjoy reading and learn from all the authors. We're a community, and we work together to make great stuff for our readers. So we need to read each other's work and help encourage each other and learn from each other. So definitely number 12 would be to read. And a bonus tip for everybody is creating a writing schedule. I talked a lot more about creating a writing schedule in my Voices of YA tag, and I'll leave that link down below. But I just kind of want to talk just a little bit about how that helps me a lot. We create a writing schedule to complete deadline. We make deadlines and to complete our goals. But kind of a side effect thing is we break writer's block. We don't have it as often as we get used and our minds trained to know this is our time to create, this is our time to write. And I found that I've had less writer's block when I keep to my schedule. And even when I have a hard time, I have a hard time coming up with something, or I'm just stuck in a certain scene, it's my time to write. I sit down anyway and I pull out my writer's block tricks to help me, and I find that I get going a lot quicker. It doesn't take me as long. So I definitely recommend to everyone to create a writer's schedule that works for you. So that will help you decrease your writer's block. So that's my bonus tip. Alright guys, that's it for me today. Me and Shazam had a great time making this video. I hope you guys enjoy it and find it useful. If you want to check out my Voice of YA tag and the blog where I've been, I'll leave those links down below. If you're curious what the Freaks series is all about, I have the first 2 chapters of Freaks Episode 1, The Guardian, available on my blog to read, and that will be linked down below. Freaks Episode 1, The Guardian, Freaks Episode 2, The Messenger, and Freaks Episode 3, The Rebel are currently available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million. I'll leave those links down below. Alright guys, I hope you'll have a great week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!